dear Diana, dear Maureen, and all the friends and family that are gathered here today. I would like to say some words to the reading because it was selected from Diana. I don't know whether you have been asked, Maureen. Yes, he has been asked. So you agreed also to this reading. It is from St. Paul, Apostle, and it's from a letter that he wrote to the Romans, the Christians in Rome at this time. And it's obviously about love. It's not the famous letter about love, but it's another, and I think a very nice one. Because Paul wants to give a kind of description which helps to reflect what is love for me and what is love for you. Or in a bit more, what should be a sincere love. What is constitutional for real love? What is a love that is not obscured by some hidden agenda of other interests, but love only? And Paul doesn't give an abstract definition, but he gives a description. For example, he says, love does not compromise when it comes on truth or goodness. And that's because love is something that comes from your heart, and your heart has to be clear if it should be love. If I think a little truth is enough, no. Or when I think a little evil can't hurt, that's not love. Because love is in your heart. Real love has to be clear. Or Paul said, love is respect for one another. And that's, by the way, that I estimate the other always a bit more than myself. We have a natural inclination to do the different. Always we are more important. That is why it needs to be said and to be done. And why it needs kind of a decision that I every day try, how can I estimate the other more than my own person? Or Paul says, a true love is characterized by the fact that it does not allow itself to be frustrated. Because of course we know that, the frustration. But it's a question to myself, is that what I want? Or does it just come over me as a natural force? And he says, love is joyful in hope. It looks for the tomorrow and always sees the chance that love is growing again. It has endurance, especially, of course, when things get difficult. And finally, Paul adds what is always something like a litmus test for Christianity, my side, and that's hospitality. When we hear that today, the couple sitting here in the front, of course we think about the love of bride and groom, of man and woman, of a couple. But today there's also a baptism of a child. And it's not the first child. Don't know, Oliver is in the second round now. Yeah? So if we talk about love, it should be true for your love to your children also. And be sure Paul is not writing to a couple in Rome who is married or going to be married, but he's speaking to everybody. What is love? So we take the chance that you decided to marry today, that we can see the importance of love for our life. But he is not writing about any kind of love. And that is in German language the same with the English language. We have the one word love. But the Greek language have different words. And the two most important words that can make clear what's it about is the Greek word eros and the Greek word agape. Eros and agape. And Paul is always using here the word agape. Eros, that is what happens. Eros is falling in love. Eros is somehow that I am forced by my inner feelings. Of course you can control it, but the core, and the beautiful core of Eros is what comes from inside of me. That love is actually always that is forced by what I want for myself. Eros is be attracted by something that I want to have, that I want to possess, that I want to have to mine. And I'm sure Eros is implemented into man's heart by God, because otherwise there would have been no chance that you come together on this distance. You met somewhere during the studies. Was it in Italy? Oh, okay. So what did God to bring you together? Yeah. But the English expression to fall in love, I think makes very clear, you don't have to do a lot for this kind of love. Ja. Im Deutschen sagt man verliebt sein. Ich finde das Englische da viel klarer. In die Liebe fallen. To fall in love. It's so obvious what it means. It's something that just happens. But agape, this love we are talking about here, is something that is not simply in the DNA and you just fall into love, but it's a way of living love. The agape in the Greek language is something where you give, and where in the center of the love is not what I want to have from me, but what I can give to the other. So to talk about Eleanor again, I don't know what that was with you, but of course you can fall in love with your children. But I think at the point when you get up twice in the middle of the night because they are crying, Eros is not enough, you need the agape. So that's what I want to talk about, because I think this is what helps you to endure as a family, staying together in love. We call it, as the Christians, we call it a holy sign, a sacrament, a holy sign, because we think when humans are able to have this forgetting about myself, being there for others in this agape love, this is something divine. There's a track of God's presence in your heart if you feel and act in this love. And what Christian church is supposed to be, this should be visible in this love, in this agape. The Latin word is caritas. I hope, Marijn, you understood that you've been called to duty today. You're riding here on Diana's ticket. She is Christian, he is not. But I think you willingly agree to it, that what you do here, that your love is presented to everybody as a sign of love for all of us. It is for your children. The way you treat each other is so important for the life of your children. And I hope it's important for us that what you two are doing here is helping us to grow in hope and faith and love. In Eros, you have only to let yourself fall. Agape, however, is an ascent. You have to climb. And I don't want to pretend to you, the ascent can be arduous. Sometimes it can be painful, because this love is something that always has to let go. Your parents, I think they know what that means when you have to let go children because you love them. Because you love them, you have to let go. And that's so infinitely important that we do that not only private, but that we share this experience with each other, that this is possible to be impregnated by this concept of love that is not oriented always with the question, what can I have, what can I consume, what is good for me, but that has the strength to look to the other. People who only consume for themselves are destroying. Finally destroying. If it's only that, it's good for a child. I think children can love the parents because they are fed by the parents. That's okay. But if you grow up and consuming is the only habit you have, this is exactly why we are destroying our planet. And think about, I think this, our problem, our culture, the capitalist culture is very much fooled by this desire that we want to have and consume, and it's only for us and what is best. And maybe that's why for commercials, eros is so important, because it makes us consuming, not loving. Whereas I think a sincere love is ecological. So something that you are aware that you're living in a world that you have to care for. Not only myself is important, but this world is important, this planet. Dear Marijn, dear Diana, I wish you that you have the strength to this love that is agape. The paradox is that I lose when I want to possess, and that I have to give love to be bared by this love. And so what we do today is to pray for this trust, to hope for this trust, and that you have the trust that gives you strength. You did that for a couple of years. I think if the pandemic would have lasted even more years, we would be here with 5 children before we had the marriage. So we started to plan with Oliver's baptism. Yeah. So it's good that we have the chance to celebrate here today. Remain confident and let us have this feast together, celebrating the love that you two show us. Amen.